Today we are talking about the silent flinch, how a covert partner quietly punishes your professional win. If his face drops when your life rises, pay attention. I'm going to say that again. If his face drops when your life rises, pay attention. Because not every jealous partner yells. Not every resentful partner says, I'm so jealous of you. Not every covert narcissist storms into the room and makes a big scene. Sometimes the punishment is quiet. Sometimes it is the cold, good for you. Sometimes it's the blank stare. It could be the little smirk. Sometimes it's the way he suddenly gets tired when you are excited. It could be also the way he changes the subject right after you're sharing something that really matters to you. Sometimes it is the way your win turns into his mood. And if you're a high achieving woman, you may know exactly what I mean. You get a promotion, you sign a client, you finish a course, you get invited to speak, you finally launch something, or you get good feedback, you make more money, you get attention for something you worked very hard for. And instead of feeling celebrated, your body braces because somewhere along the way, your nervous system learned that my success is not safe here. That is what we are actually talking about today, the silent flinch. So the quiet moment when his envy shows up before his words do. And if this episode makes you uncomfortable, well, good, because that's why we're here today. Not because I want you to hurt, I do not, but because some truths need to wake up the part of you that has been making excuses for way too long. This is not about blaming you. This is not about saying every bad mood means abuse. This is not about making you paranoid. This is about pattern recognition. Because one cold reaction may be a bad day, but a repeated pattern of punishing your growth, that is not a bad day. That is control. This episode is for the woman who has learned to make her good news smaller. The woman who says, it is not a big deal, when it actually is a big deal. The woman who gets excited in her car but tones herself down before walking into the house. The woman who calls her friend first because she knows that her partner will not really celebrate her. Or the woman who has stopped sharing her wins because she does not want to deal with the mood after. The woman who can stand in front of a full room of people and speak with confidence, then come home and feel like she has to ask permission to feel proud. That is such a specific kind of pain. I know it, because it's lonely. And it's not always obvious enough to explain, is it? If you tell someone, he didn't really say anything bad, they may not really understand. But you know the tone, you know the pause, you know the flat eyes, you know the way the room changes, the emotional temperature drops. You know what it costs you to shine in a house where your light feels like a threat. That is who I'm talking to today. So what is this silent flinch? The silent flinch is that tiny emotional reaction your partner has when something good finally happens for you. It may be fast, it may be subtle, but your body catches it. And that is an important distinction. Your body catches it because it's so smart. His face goes still, his voice goes flat, his eyes lose warmth. He gives a half smile that doesn't reach his face. He says, nice, but it feels like a closed door. He says, good for you, but somehow it lands like an insult. He says, must be nice, so you can feel the sting under it. He says, wow, you are really busy now. But what he means is you are becoming harder to control. Then comes the coldness, not always right away. Sometimes later that night, sometimes the next morning. And it may be right before your big thing. Suddenly he is distant, he's irritated, quiet, he's tired, or he's complaining, or he has a crisis, he has a problem with your tone. He says you are full of yourself. He says you care more about work than him. He says you have changed. Or he may say you're not the woman you used to be. And because you are self-reflective, which is a very beautiful trait, you start wondering, did I talk about it too much? Was I bragging? Did I make him feel bad? Should I have said it differently? Maybe I should not have brought it up at all. And there it is, the trap. Your win becomes something you have to manage, celebrate, manage. That is the punishment. And why this hurts so badly. Let's be real. Most high-achieving women are not asking for a parade. You're not asking somebody to throw rose petals at your feet every time you do something well. Although, honestly, some of you deserves a parade and the roses at your feet, of course. Let's not lie. But most women are not asking for that. You are asking for basic emotional presence. You want your partner to look at you and say, gosh, I'm proud of you. Worked really hard for that. Or, that is amazing. Tell me everything. Let's celebrate. I love watching you win. That's what we want. It shouldn't be too much. A healthy partner is not threatened by your growth. A healthy partner does not need you to stay small so they can feel big. A healthy partner does not treat your success like betrayal, but a covertly jealous partner does. And this is where it gets really confusing. Because he may not openly attack your success. He may do something sneakier. He may underreact. He may act unimpressed. He may make you feel silly for being excited. Or he might shift attention back to himself or suddenly need comforting for himself. He may create tension, so your nervous system just stops associating success with joy and starts associating it with danger. Over time, your body learns. When I win, I lose peace. That is a brutal lesson. And many women do not even realize they have learned it. They just start shrinking. And the empathetic congrats. Let's talk about that. This is one of the most painful parts of covert envy because it is not loud enough to sound abusive, is it? It's not cruel enough for other people to gasp, but it lands in your body like a slap. You say, I got the contract. He says, oh, good. You say, my boss said I did amazing. He says, nice. You say, I think this could really grow. He says, don't get ahead of yourself. You say, I made my first sale. He says, how much did you actually make? You say, they asked me to speak at an event. And then he says, are they paying you? Maybe you could say, I'm proud of myself. And he says, must be nice to have time for all of that. That is not celebrating. That is emotional withholding with a little bow on top. And it messes with your head because you are left thinking, maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe he's just tired. Maybe I expected too much. Maybe he does not know how to respond. Maybe this, maybe that. Maybe I'm making this bigger than it is. No. Stop. A person who loves you may have an off day, yes, But a person who repeatedly cannot celebrate your aliveness is showing you something. Don't ignore it any longer. The shift from admiration to resentment. So let's talk about that. Many covertly jealous partners start off admiring the very things that they later punish. In the beginning, he may love your ambition. He may brag about you. He may tell people how strong you are. He may say, "My wife is incredible." He may love being close to your light because in the beginning, your success makes him feel special. It raises his image. It gives him status. It makes him feel like he won. But then your success starts requiring him to grow too. And that is where the trouble begins. Because now you are not just making him look good, you are becoming more visible. You are becoming more confident. You are needing less approval. You are meeting new people. You're earning more. You're trusting yourself. You are remembering who you are. And for a controlling partner, that is so dangerous. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're becoming harder to dominate. That is why some partners do not attack your success at first. They wait until your success starts changing your identity. When your win starts making you stronger, clearer, and more dependent on his mood, that is when the envy starts leaking out. The coldness comes in, the sarcasm, the criticism, the distance comes in, the little digs come in. And if you are not careful, you start handing pieces of your power back just to make the relationship feel calm again. This is how the shrinking starts. So let's now talk about the little digs that do the most damage. Covert jealousy often hides inside little comments, tiny comments, almost nothing comments, but you feel them. You're getting pretty full of yourself. Must be nice. Don't forget who was there before all this. You think you are better than people now. You're always working. Your priorities are messed up. You care more about strangers than your own family. I guess I'm just not important anymore. So now you are an expert. God, how many times did I hear that? Wow, listen to you. Don't make this your whole personality. And the real confusing part? Some of these may sound normal to other people, but the body knows tone. The body knows contempt. The body knows when a sentence has a knife under it. That is why I want you to stop judging yourself. I want you to stop judging your experience only by the word, okay? Look at the pattern. Does he celebrate you and then return to connection? Or does your success lead to punishment? Does he ask curious questions? Or does he shut the moment down? Does he make room for your joy? Or does he make your joy feel unsafe? That is the difference. Now, let's talk about another pattern. Sometimes the punishment does not come after the win. Sometimes it comes before, right before your meeting, right before your presentation, before an exam or your lunch or before court or right before a family event or before a photo shoot that's important to you or an interview, right before the thing where you need to be clear and grounded and focused. He starts something, a fight, a guilt trip, a silent treatment, financial panic, a cruel comment, we need to talk moment, a sudden crisis, a big emotional dump. And now you walk into that most important moment with your nervous system fried. You're smiling, but your stomach is tight. You're speaking, but parts of your brain are replaying what happened in the kitchen. You are leading, but your body is still in threat mode. And afterwards, you might think, why do I always feel off before big moments? Why can I not fully enjoy things? Why am I so tired? Why do I lose confidence right when I need it the most? My friend, sometimes it is not a confidence problem. Sometimes it's a sabotage problem. And I need you to hear that, because if you keep calling it anxiety, you will keep trying to fix yourself. But if it's actually emotional sabotage, the solution is not more self-esteem. The solution is protection. Then there is the post-win punishment. This is when something good happens and he cannot handle your joy. Maybe he goes quiet. Maybe he withdraws his attention, his affection. He acts irritated. He makes himself the victim. Maybe he brings up something totally unrelated, or he criticizes how you handle something, or suddenly needs attention. Maybe he acts like your success is inconvenient. Maybe he creates a fight so the emotional headline of the day is no longer your win. Now it is his mood, and this is important. A covertly jealous partner does not always need to destroy the achievement itself. Sometimes he just needs to destroy your experience of it. Let that land. He may not be able to take away the promotion, but he can make the night miserable. He might not be able to take away the client, but he can make you feel guilty being excited. He may not be able to stop the applause, but he can make sure you come home to silence. That is how he trains you. Not always by blocking the door, right? Sometimes by making every step forward emotionally expensive. Then there's the success shame loop. Over time, he creates what I call the success shame loop. You achieve something, you feel excited, he reacts coldly or critical. You feel anxiety, you soften your excitement, you question yourself, you try to repair the wound. He gets comfort, control, or attention. You learn that success brings disconnection. Next time, you celebrate less. This is how a woman starts hiding her own life. And I want to say something very tender here. If you have done this, I get it. I understand. I've been there. And I want you to know that you and we are not weak. You are trying to keep the peace. You are trying to protect the relationship. You are trying to avoid the crash that came after your joy. But peace that requires your shrinking is not peace, is it? It is compliance. And you are not born to be emotionally house-trained by somebody else's envy. Right? Let me say that again because it's so important. And you were not born to be emotionally house-trained by someone else's envy. Now, let's talk about the body's response. Your body pays for this, This kind of pattern teaches your nervous system to expect danger around success. So what happens? You may procrastinate before big opportunities. You may feel sick before good things. You may downplay your talent or undercharge or avoid visibility or stop posting or stop applying or just stop trying. You may feel guilty when people praise you. You may feel exposed when you are seen. You might feel relief when things stay small, not because small is the truth, but because small became safer. That is a huge difference. And this is why healing is not just saying, I know he was jealous. Good, that's a great start. But your body also needs to learn. My success is safe now. My joy is safe now. Being seen is safe. My growth doesn't mean I am abandoning anyone. My shine does not make me cruel. My confidence does not make me selfish. My life is allowed to expand. So, covert jealousy now, let's talk about that. Covert jealousy is confusing because it often comes from someone who claims to love you. He may say he supports you. He may tell others he is so proud of you. He may even post about your success publicly. But privately, the emotional cost is different. That is the split. Public support, private punishment, right? Public pride, private resentment. Public, that is my wife. Private, you think you are better than me. That is why women feel crazy. Because the public version of him may look supportive, but you know what happens behind closed doors. And I need you to trust that. Not everyone gets access to the pattern. You do. You live with the aftershock. So here's a friend test. This is a simple test. Imagine your best friend came to you and said, every time something good happens to me, my partner gets cold, distant, irritated, sarcastic, or suddenly needy. I have started hiding my wins because it is easier than dealing with his mood. What would you say to her? What would you say? Would you say, well, maybe you are too much? No. Would you say to her, maybe stop being so successful? No. Would you say, maybe make yourself smaller so he feels better? Absolutely not, you wouldn't. You would probably say, friend, this is not okay. You deserve to be celebrated. You deserve to feel safe in your own joy. So why do we give ourselves advice that we would never give another woman? That right there is worth looking at. Because healing often starts when you finally become as kind and protective towards yourself as you are towards everybody else. Okay, so here's some things that you may have started doing. Let's name some signs that this pattern has affected you. You stop telling him good news right away. You may practice how to say it so he will not react badly. You add disclaimers before sharing a win. You say, it's not a big deal when it is. You give him credit he did not earn so he doesn't have to feel left out. You avoid celebrating. You feel guilty when things go well. You tell friends before you tell him. You hide income. You hide praise. You hide opportunity. You make yourself look less excited than you are. You feel a strange sadness about good news. You achieve something and then immediately feel dread. That is not normal partnership. That is conditioning. And listen, I know that word can hurt. Conditioning. Nobody wants to think I was conditioned. I get it. But if the word fits, let it wake you up. Because what was conditioned can be unlearned. And here's the hard truth. Some people do not want you healed. They want you functioning. They want you strong enough to carry the house, but not strong enough to leave. They want you successful enough for them to benefit from it, but not successful enough to outgrow them. They want your shine when it reflects well on them, but not when it belongs to you. They want your competence as a resource, but your confidence feels like a threat. That is not love. That is ownership. You are not a resource. You are a person. You're a woman, a whole life, a whole soul, a whole fire. And if somebody needs to dim down to feel safe, they are not your safe place. Here's 3 things to stop doing. If you need to breathe and just pause this, please do it. I know that this is a lot. And please know that I'm not here to make you feel worse. I'm here to empower you. Just as these things have empowered me. Here's 3 things to stop doing. Let's make this practical, okay? So number 1, stop presenting your wins like an apology. No more. I know this is not a big deal, but no more. I don't want to sound full of myself, but, or stop saying, it probably means nothing but, okay? No, try this. I have good news. I am proud of myself. Full stop. You do not need to shrink the sentence before it leaves your mouth. I know that you know this. This is just a reminder, okay? Number 2, stop trying to manage his reaction. Oh, this is so big. And I know this is hard. You may have spent years scanning his face. Years. Is he annoyed? Is he cold? Is he jealous? Is he going to punish me later? But his reaction belongs to him. Your job is not to make your success emotionally digestible for someone committed to resenting you. Let him have his face. Let him have his mood. Let him have his silence. You keep your truth. Now, number 3. Stop confusing lack of celebration with humility. You are allowed to celebrate. You are allowed to enjoy the things that you worked for. You are allowed to let your body feel the win. That does not make you arrogant. That makes you alive. Now, here's 3 things to start doing, okay? What we want to start doing is this. Number 1, create a safe celebration circle. Just choose 1 or 2 people who can hold your joy without competing with it. A friend, a sister, a therapist, a coach, a support group, a community. Someone who can say, tell me everything. You need space where your success can breathe. Number 2, track the pattern. Not to obsess, to get clear. Write down, what was the win? How did I share it? What was his reaction? What happened later? How did my body feel? What did I do afterward? When you see it on paper, the fog starts lifting. Because the mind can argue, the body can doubt, but a pattern written down is harder to deny, isn't it? I know you know all this. We're just going back over it. Now, number 3, reclaim the win in your body. Now, this may sound so simple or just silly, but do it. When something good happens, pause. Put your hand on your heart and say something like, this is mine. Take 1 deep breath. Then say, I am allowed to feel this. Because when your joy has been punished, celebration becomes a healing practice, doesn't it? Not fluff, practice. Now, here's a new standard. You do not need a partner who claps like a trained seal every time you do something, right? That is not what we are saying here. But you do need a partner whose love does not shrink when you grow. You need someone who can hold your good news without making it about their insecurity. You need someone who can be proud without competing with you. You need somebody who can say, I see you, and mean it. You need someone who does not punish your visibility. And if you are not in that kind of a relationship at minimum, then, my friend, you need to also stop pretending the coldness does not hurt you. Because it does. Of course it does. We are made to share joy. And when the person closest to you cannot hold your joy, it creates a deep loneliness, right? It makes success feel empty. Your home feel unsafe. makes you wonder why the things you work for suddenly feel so heavy. And my friend, there is nothing wrong with wanting to be celebrated. Nothing. There is nothing wrong with wanting warmth or wanting your partner's face to light up when yours does. This is not needy. This is human. Whole again is not about becoming so independent that you don't need anyone. No, that is not healing. That's armor. Whole again is about coming back to the part of you that learned to hide. The proud part, the excited part, the ambitious part, the visible part, the woman who used to say, I did it. The woman who used to feel joy without immediately scanning the room. The woman who did not have to manage somebody else's insecurity before she could feel her own life. The woman is still there. She may be quiet. She may be tired. She may be careful, but she is not gone. And we are going to bring her back. Not by forcing her, not by shaming her, not by saying, just be confident. We're going to bring her back by building safety. One truth at a time, one boundary at a time, one honest celebration at a time. So this week, I want you to ask yourself this question. Maybe you want to write it down. Where have I made my life smaller to protect someone else's ego? Not to blame yourself, to notice. Did you stop posting? Did you stop dressing up? Did you stop talking about your business? Did you stop applying for opportunities or stop dreaming out loud or stop saying what you really wanted? Did you stop celebrating? Did you stop letting people see you? Write that down and then ask yourself, what is one piece of myself I am ready to bring home? Maybe it's your voice. Maybe it's your ambition. You start small with your joy. Maybe it is your confidence. Maybe it is your right to be proud. Start there. So, in closing, if you have been searching covert narcissist jealous of wife success, I want you to know this. You are not imagining the coldness, okay? You are not too sensitive for noticing the shift. You are not selfish for wanting celebration. You are not arrogant for having ambition. You are not cruel for outgrowing a life that kept you small. His silent flinch was not your instruction to shrink. It was information. And now that you can see it, you can stop treating his discomfort as your assignment. Your success is not a betrayal. Your joy is not dangerous. Your visibility is not selfish. Your life is allowed to get bigger, and the right people will not punish you for becoming more of yourself. If this episode hit something deep in you today, please don't brush it off. Ask yourself one honest question today. Where did I learn to make my good news smaller? And if you're ready to stop decoding the abuse and start rebuilding the woman who got buried under it, this is the work we do inside Whole Again. You are not broken. You adapted. And now we rebuild.